Chapter 63. Yuan Ying equals Prana. Outside the golden armor crystal grand formation, as Master Liu Nian chased after the direction of the scaly dragon, Li Haoran stepped on the prow of the flying boat and coldly looked down at the oceanic waters below. Greetings to the Divine Opportunity Battalion Master. In the distance, Long Wanqing's 3 servants slightly saluted. When Li Haoran saw the 3, he raised an eyebrow. What happened here earlier? The 3 servants looked at each other and did not explain. At this moment, the 20,000 people, however, looked at the flying boat in amazement, and some of the cultivators who had just jumped into the big water also climbed onto the shore to look at the flying boat of the Divine Mechanism Battalion. Go and ask, Li Haoran said indifferently. Yes, Shu. Instantly, a group of Divine Mechanism Battalion disciples jumped down from the flying boat, turning their eyes to grab a few cultivators and interrogated them on the flying boat. Li Haoran looked around and waited quietly. Soon, the previous information was summarized. It's the ancient sea again, Li Haoran said with a gloomy face. He had started hearing Gu Hai's name since the innate remnant realm. Innate realm, time and time again. It made a big mess. But before that, Gu Hai had already slaughtered 20,000 cultivators and defeated Luo Change. It was even more ferocious than himself. Learning the result, it seemed as if he was picking up the pieces again, so unpleasant. When he arrived here, even though he had killed Song Shengping, why did he have the feeling of picking up the pieces again? Find Gu Hai for me, Li Haoran said in a cold voice. Yes. Ka. As a long arrow was plucked out bit by bit, the cracks on the golden armored crystal grand formation increased, and this grand formation, that was claimed to be able to block 100 Yuan realms, was actually shattered by this arrow. Boom. The long arrow was pulled out with a bang. Boom. The golden armor crystal grand formation burst apart and turned into countless fragments, instantly revealing the Song armor sect's inner clan scene. Wow. The surrounding great waters poured towards some valleys. Skeletons. This is no corpses, only skeletons. Countless people rose up in alarm. The crowd of cultivators were also creeped out. Skeletons all over the mountains. These were demonized people. Where's the meat? Where's their flesh and blood? It was all done by Gu Hai. A sound of sucking in cold air came from the crowd, and a great thrill went straight to their heads. What exactly happened before? The crowd of Divine Mechanism Battalion disciples all turned pale. That mountainous skeleton frame, the impactful image, even Li Haoran had a facial twitch. Li Haoran had killed countless people, however, he had never left such a creepy image. Ancient sea. This is a demonic tactic, Li Haoran said in a cold voice. Camp Master Li, please be careful with your words. What exactly happened? You haven't seen it with your own eyes. After all, Gu Hai killed all the demons and saved all of us, not far away. A Long Wanqing servant opened his mouth. Although he himself had been shaken inexplicably earlier, Gu Hai's great kindness had to be thanked. Steeply, a big wind blew by, but it was Master Lionian who flew back with his flying boat. Master Lionian, did you catch up with that Zhao Long? Li Haoran twisted his head and asked. Li Haoran, why did you call Song Shengping? Grandmaster Liu Nian glared angrily. HMPH. With a cold snort, Master Liu Nian no longer paid attention to Li Haoran and stepped and flew towards where the 3 servants were. In the middle of a valley. Look at my eyes, Li King's head steeply shouted. Buzz. Within his eyes, a large amount of red light was suddenly released to shine towards Gu Hai. Gu Hai immediately turned his head and slashed his sword. Boom. Rolling black chi surged towards Li King. Li King's head quickly flew away. Gu Hai, you don't even dare to look at me. How can you catch me if you don't dare to look at me? Li King shouted. It's already the 5th day. Although I haven't been able to catch you, but Your power is diminishing more and more. Your speed is getting slower and slower. You can't even fly high enough. How long can you escape? Gu Hai turned his back to Li King and said in a cold voice. Bed. The absolute life blade was quickly waved behind his back, and a blade aura chopped through the 4 directions. You don't even dare to look at me, and you still want to kill me. Gu Hai, let's see you die today, or me. Li King said in a cold voice. Ka. Boom. Thousands of snake heads surged in. Each snake head defended against the absolute life knife, and came with open mouths tearing at Gu Hai, while this time, the absolute life knife did not chop indiscriminately, as if it had stopped there and did not move. Gu Hai, go to hell, Li King yelled. Bear Yin. Steeply, a sword chi shot through Li King's head. Ka. Thousands of snake heads suddenly lurched and stopped, looking at Gu Hai in shock. The absolute life blade hadn't chopped over. How could a sword chi shoot through their heads? All the snake heads are staring at the absolute life blade in my right hand, and they don't pay attention to my left hand, which suddenly has an extra long sword. Gu Hai turned his back to Li King and said in a cold voice. How did you see where I was? Li King had a wave of disbelief in his eyes. Steeply, a ray of light shot in, but he saw that above Gu Hai's right hand, besides grasping the absolute life sword, he was also grasping a mirror. Within the mirror, the image of his own head was being reflected. A mirror? No. Li King closed his eyes in despair. At the same time, the land of the ancient mansion, Shangguan Scar was guarding the 3,000 stone statues when, abruptly, the 3,000 stone statues trembled. Thus, the 3,000 stone statues quickly faded. Slowly, it changed back from grey. Who you? The 3,000 villains recovered, and as they recovered, all of them gasped for air. Obviously, the period of becoming a stone statue was not pleasant. What's happening to me? Where is this? What happened? The eyes? Yes, Li King's eyes. The crowd of villains were all of a sudden clamoring. All right. Shangguan Trace let out a deep shout. Minister Shangguan, what the hell is going on? And where are we? Chen Chonchen said, anxiously. This is your lord's residence. The fact that you all can recover means that your lord has already beheaded Li King. Shangguan. Trace laughed. Oh, the crowd was surprised. In the valley, Gu Hai put away his long sword. Li King's head was still the same, just with an extra bloody hole in the center of his eyebrow in general. Gu Hai waited for quite some time before he compared the mirror and went to pick up Li King's snake hair head. Buzz. A golden light slowly emerged from Li King's snake hair head, the very same golden light that was drilled into the head from the exploding body not long ago. When Li King's body exploded, the golden glow was not a side object, but it was like a golden baby, and its appearance should be that of Li King when he was young. You are still alive. Gu Hai stared and grabbed the absolute life blade. That golden baby was already only a faint film of light, twisting its head to look at Gu Hai with a bitter face. This is my first baby, and my one soul, however, it's useless. The 3 souls have been dispersed, and the prana has no hiding place. It's going to be dispersed, the golden baby said bitterly. Yuan Ying Rum. You are the Yuan Ying. Gu Hai stared. People have 3 souls and 7 vampires. 3 souls for heaven and earth. 3 souls for people. Vampires, in fact, is the body vampire, strengthened after birth. The stronger the strength, the stronger the vampire. When it comes to the Yuan Ying realm, it will be able to condense its form, which is what I look like right now. A Yuan Ying, the golden baby said bitterly. But you have been chasing and chasing for 5 days. The prana was almost at its limit, until you just dispersed my 3 souls with a sword. The 3 souls were dispersed. And I was dispersed. It's better this way. This way it is better that the human souls being eaten by Fu blood, the heavenly soul returns to heaven. The earthly soul can go to the netherworld to reincarnate. Reincarnation or not, It is better than the previous man-eating devil. As he spoke, the Yuan Ying was getting fainter and fainter, as if it was about to dissipate. Gu Hai, thank you, the Yuan Ying, however, suddenly smiled bitterly. You don't need to thank me. Gu Hai frowned. I didn't want to become like this. I didn't want to, but there's no going back in the beginning. Alas, this is good, Yuan Ying bitterly said. Buzz. Steeply, the Yuan Ying dispersed, turning into a burst of golden mist that dissipated into thin air. Gu Hai, however, was silent for a good while. 3 souls and 7 pranas. Prana. Is it a physical body? When one reaches the Yuan Ying realm and condenses the Yuan Ying, it is the condensed form of the prana. It's the source of power. A trace of consternation flashed in Gu Hai's eyes. In the Danshan, the true essence condensed. Those true essence were one's own power. Later on, when those true essence powers condensed into the form of the prana, was it the Yuan Ying? Li King died, at least at the end. He woke up. With a slight sigh, Gu Hai grabbed Li King's head, and steeply, Gu Hai's expression moved. Slowly, with his hand, he prodded at the snake hair head. It instantly sealed the veins and meridians in the snake hair head. Gu Hai looked at the distance. There was a poisonous snake swimming. Gu Hai poured in true essence into the snake hair head. Buzz. The snake hair head's eyes trembled violently under the urging of the true essence, and the red light emerged from its eyes. Hiss, 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 hiss. The poisonous snakes not far away turned into stone statues in a steep tremble after seeing this red light. It really works. Gu Hai was slightly stunned. True essence test. In the snake hair head, it seems like there is a strange energy that is the key to releasing the red light. Just now casting a little, it has already consumed a quarter of it. This snake hair head, it can still be used 3 times, petrified. Probing hand, very carefully put the snake hair head into the token small space. Perhaps, in the future, there is a great use.